Attention gamers. As League of Legends players, we are all used to the typical forces that make playing ranked games an experience worse than your typical goochwax, featuring just the most absolute scum of humanity that somehow finds their way onto this game, saying things like they are on a losing streak, so despite your team being in an easily winnable game, they could care less if they win, as they would rather prove some person wrong that they have never met and will never see again, rather than win in a game, which is just baffling to me. But luckily the other team is struggling with their own relationship problems as well, paired with the fact that you now just exploit whatever Riot devs were too high on Seraphine's panty drawer fumes to balance broken champs, which allows you to carry teamfights despite missing all your abilities, wasting your flash and then standing still while jerking your right click off to completion to collect the most undeserved quadra kill in history before rushing in and overcoming the forces of cancer in this piss pit of a game. But there is also the phenomenon that every time you play bot, it seems like your top laner has donated their brain to science before they were done using it, resulting in an enemy dunking douche canoe having the luxury of drum setting his slobbering face against his keyboard to carry his team to victory. So then you decide to go top to prevent such unwinnable situations, only to have Rift Alexa blabbering on about your bot lane all game as if they are doing some historic war reenactment and they are playing the role of the country that got shit on. And so today we are back on the T1 pocket pick miss pigeon pick me up and piss on some piggies to see if we can overcome another one of the most tilted forces in League of Legends, the bot Diff. Now I invite you all to stand up, hit a few back stretchies to warm up for this heavy carry attempt, and then please politely cannonball yourselves back down onto the upward thumb button till it turns blue so I can get a happy ending from the YouTube algorithm, and let's get into the game. Don't forget me and the guy who's named after a rabbit and the Ross sauce are doing a global giveaway where you can enter for free to win a dope PC, so check the description for the link to enter. Alright, introducing Tweedledee and Tweedledum, the perky titted pirate, and her flattened Zelda Wind Waker NPC support who wastes no time overextending to introduce her glittery butterfly to Project Shank Yo ass, who pulls her in to say hi, and this is Kaisa, who has a totally balanced amount of damage, so needless to say they lose that fight. That said, I am rocking Cupid Quinn against dunking Desperado up here, so I call up Jarvan III and ask if his son can stop by to help me take out the trash, and since I was no stranger to that old farts flagpole, if you know what I'm saying, he owed me one and I welcomed the extra help by doing the flippies and the valor zippies to finish the job. Meanwhile, the butt buddies are being overrun by a flash mob of red-robed KKK babies, but thankfully Commander Cucksuck is in the area, and you are probably thinking this gank is in the bag. But it quickly turns into some Baywatch slow-mo fail fest where they all hate to see Plasma Patty leave but love watching that ass go until she reveals with some heels that she is a practiced masturbator, so the hope of their one day being a J5 gets squashed, and because the height/IQ impaired godmother stuck around when a normal player would have made like a fart and blew out that shithole, she got to make a personal donation to the Make-a-Fed Smoky Crab Claw Foundation by hand. And typically the correct reaction to barely escaping death and then having to watch your midget-ass friend get murdered in front of your bare eyes is to get to safety, but not this bombshell buccaneer. No, she will stand where she wants to stand, even if it means getting hooked, dying, and missing out on the XP that comes with watching your tower genocide an entire mob of red robes. That said, I'm thriving more than your second cousin Michael, who bought stock in GameStop years ago as a joke thanks to my jungler who didn't put on his ridiculous bloody tampon ears helmet just to play like a pussy, so we informed Dr. Dunk that we mean business before clearing a path for our hooded midget employees to watch the show, and then we come in to execute a tower dive that landed me in the bank but Jarvie boy in the base. And then sadly we have an update from the two who have proven to be the kind of guys that don't know the ingredients for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so when Project Sperm Cell comes floating his way in to charge up a hook, the little pixie shit is like, oomy pick me, I will be good, I promise, I'll even let you stun me and smack my feeding ass while you're at it. So yeah, shout out to this Lulu for getting off to a great start in this one. And to stack the poor plays up like pancakes, I make a mistake that I can only hope some of you watching have made before. You see, King Dunking Dickwad has PTSD of the probing he has received thus far, so he has the lane more frozen than a popsicle in Alaska, so I decide to take a stroll mid to let this windshitter measure my love Dub's dick, but I was too focused on rubbing Nutella on my nipples while looking at my future victim to notice that I was about to be intercepted worse than a Brett Favre pass by that fed floating ashtray, so he quickly made a meal with my meatballs before I could even react. Then straight back to the sexy swashbuckler and the fuck-up fairy chasing winged women with thick thighs into unwarded bushes, which forces MF to get swollen, begging the question of what comes after double Ds, considering they are much bigger under the effects of a Lulu ult. But she is more concerned with finding an answer to what happens when a dumb ADC flashes into danger, And the answer to anyone wondering is that this is silver elo, so the other ADC then dashes into danger and dies, but the whole play was still about as dumb as a bag of rocks, so Pixie Tits runs away from safety and the bimbo gives another wad of cash to Grape Guts Nocturne, and in case there was any doubt in your mind that the other bag of spare parts survived, she didn't. Anyways, I never did get to meet the fabled one who shits wind, and they are typically my favorite people every game as long as they aren't on my team, so I wait for him to get distracted by a toy on the ground and then I lube up and love dove dash my way in before calling my friends over to observe the trademark move of all Yone players. This puts us in a good spot to consume some red meat, so despite the lights getting turned off toward the end, we finished the meal in peace before dealing with the scum slut set up to nab some sloppy seconds, so I asked Plasma Patty to flash me to give me that little extra motivation I needed to stare that purple pokey smoke show in the eyes and demand he cough up a thick 950. And you would think the outcome of this situation was definitely in the hashtag worth column until the sack of scatter brain cells sticks around to pace back and forth like she's doing a VCR tape of Pilates, but then she remembers she hates fucking Pilates and would rather die than do one more second of it, so she becomes the first human to get pike pulled over a wall before getting what she wanted: no more Pilates. But thankfully they still had a wind shitter on their team to counteract the idiocracy, balance the scales of baffling brain-dead bitches a bit, and thanks to a totally necessary Lulu alt, I collect a surprising shutdown bounty from the breezy bozo. Once upon a time there was this cute ginger who mistakenly thought this was TikTok and that putting on a push-up bra with her figure would result in free success, but unfortunately there was no batch of blue-balled middle-aged men here, just a fed levitating horseshoe who wasn't too fond of her freebooter outfit. And then I guess all the free fortune this dead dock worker has gotten all game has turned him into one greedy goblin, so I come in despite the surprise solar eclipse and join Jin's favorite Jarvan in his little rocky ring thing as Lulu shoves a chia pet up my asshole and force feeds it some water to facilitate me securing another shutdown. Then me and my jungler want to see if we can put Gorilla Glue in our hair and sue the world for millions of dollars like that dumb bitch, so we head up top to see if Darius has any extra, unless he accidentally used it all to glue himself to that lane all game, and despite spinning with the goal of winning, me and my Phoenix were the only ones who left the fight grinning. Back south just in time to catch a very strategic ult out of Miss Unfortunate, who then only needs to use up both her and her support's cooldowns to get out of a position that she never should have been in anyway, so they check off the waste ults in a bad fight box from their laundry list of tasks losers do, and then they roam mid. But MF eventually says her tits are tapped and starts to head out, to which Lulu shows why winning the race to her mom's egg was the last thing she'll ever win. That said, their bot lane was more out of place than a condom in a coffin, so I bird boosted in, and I think we can all leave a resounding F in the comments for that Kaisa ult. But my work here wasn't over, because there was a second shit stain originally, and I just know that bad old Greg was lurking around her somewhere, so I did a quick scan to reveal him under tower, clearly doing some window shopping in the shops, thinking about what he's going to spend his allowance on, and I am not above killing bitches when they are busy, so transfer another 300 to the Rab Daddy checking account. Then Pixie Tits finds herself getting baited into a bad battle for the 73rd time, but I am all for the ball cuffing supports putting on their therapy animal hat and sticking with their dumbass teammates until they die, but there reaches a point where you just have to say your farewells to Inspector Golden Gadget and save yourself, but this particular Lulu doesn't have a sense of reason, thinking she has more flash than a Polaroid camera, but unfortunately their team brought their flashes as well, and hey look, there's MF just in time to be useless. And a minute later she is just off scanning for a Wi-Fi signal strong enough for her to tweet about wishing she was taller and skinnier and less fucking stupid, but her free trial runs out and she has to plop a pinky down to finish her little battle, which ends in quite the nightmare, but a clutch ult delays her death by an entire 0.7 of a second, and then you see the boys back in town with the bird, so I ensure the crime doesn't go unpunished, and shout out to that stellar teleport by Victor doing his best Mr. Kaplan impersonation. Then back up north to check in on my steady stream of income that I have planted on the other team, and once again to everyone's surprise this Yone, whose head truly was Bologna, was once again worth shutdown courtesy of my bot lane the teeny weeny wizard, and this Jack Sparrow slut bra stuff with magnets as nothing else can explain her uncanny ability to get hit by every single hook. But once again Custodian Rab coming in for cleanup duties at the end of another undeserved kill. And this double allowed us to stomp down mid like a pack of hormonal hippos until we ran into the twin of he who shits wind, and he just knew he wasn't supposed to be out of base, so he doesn't fight being put back in again. Now a small shout out to this Nocturne is in order, because goddamn if this wasn't a Reddit worthy steal from downtown Disney World then I don't know what is. So we rewarded his ass by murdering it, and then I used my cocaine enema to flee the scene. And at this point I was pretty much full build and I can already hear the jaws dropping when I say this, but a 6-item marksman is definitely something you want to take home to meet the parents right now. It just sucks that it takes almost 40 minutes and 15 kills to get there, as I awaited the moron tethered to the sad reality that he has the second worst syndrome on the rift to come flying back to meet his fate. So with that, I am pleased to say that this bot lane diff could be defeated with a large peen performance on the damage meters. Sub to my damn channel. Rav out.
Don't fuck with Rabby boy, I'm in your crib with the blappy boy. Talk to me slick and I'm popping your pappy. If happy talk back then I'm taking your Grammy, and boy oh boy I'll make her happy. Let's go.